Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show today. We're going to have a good time today talking about a topic that is near and dear to me, and I'm pretty excited about it, and I'm really excited to share this with you. And as we get started, I'd love for you to click on the share button and click the like button also. And if you're seeing this like afterwards and you're not seeing the live program, and I'd love for you to send me a comment and tell me how the show impacted you. So thank you again for joining. We're going to have a good time today talking about how the elites stay motivated. And a lot of people struggle with this. Like, I have no motivation. I'd love to do this thing. I'd love to do that thing, but I'm just not motivated. And so people always ask the question, what do I do to get motivated? And once I am motivated to do something, how do I stay in that mode and not lose interest? Or how do I stay there and not be demotivated and in the end not accomplish the thing that I started out to do in the first place? So how do people who are super achievers stay motivated, get motivated? Here's what I think is one of the first things to do. You must have a plan. Without a plan, it's almost impossible to be motivated about anything. You need to have a plan. You need to figure out what you're going to do. What is it that you want to accomplish? That is so important and essential to getting on the path to accomplishment. So you must have a plan. One of the things I want to say about this is your plan, it must be simple. It must be reachable. Your plan must have a time limit to it. You can't make these really humongous goals and have no time limit, and there are no milestones to accomplish little steps. If you're setting out saying, I want to have a degree, so to speak, you at least need to know what you want to major in and where you want to go to school and what you're going to do your first semester. Those things must be in place. How are you going to pay for it? First semester. Some people want to worry about the entire 4 years. What am I going to do in 4 years? One step at a time. And if you do that, you'll find that get into the path, get into the start line where you become motivated to do something is a little easier. So first have a plan, but simplify your plan, work the plan out, see the steps that gets you from point A to point B, see the steps as they progress. Another thing to keep in mind is this. It doesn't necessarily mean that if you have a plan, you must have every single detail worked out and know exactly what you're going to do. The plan may simply be, I need to finish college in 4 years. And the plan may also say, I need to start in January and I am going to major in so-and-so major. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you know what you're going to do the third semester, you know what you're going to do in the fourth semester, and where the money is going to come from. You just see the big picture, and you have the immediate steps to get started. So if you're going to motivate yourself to do something, let's say lose weight. You want to lose X number of weight before the Christmas holiday comes around. Right now, you have to determine how much weight you're going to lose. Now, if you're saying before now and Christmas, I want to lose 100 pounds, that may be a little bit more than you can chew off. But if you decide that in the process of losing weight, I plan to lose 5 pounds this week, or I plan to lose 10 pounds in the next 21 days, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to not eat carbs. I'm going to not eat so much bread. No more bonbons. No more cake at night. Little things. I'm going to walk a mile. I'm going to walk 2 miles. Those little things, ladies and gentlemen, will help you on the path to getting and staying motivated. Because a week from now, let's say you step on a scale and you've dropped 5 pounds or you've dropped 6 pounds. That is exciting and that is encouragement. And so that helps you to continue on your path. You must have a purpose. There must be a dream to what you're going to do. You can't just say, I have a plan. The plan has to lead somewhere. It has to do something. So what is the purpose then in going to college? What is the purpose then in losing weight? I want to be healthier. My blood pressure is higher, my cholesterol is high, and so I need to bring my weight down to a certain level in order to retain and maintain healthy body. healthy habits. Same thing with going to school. It shouldn't just be, I'm going to college. It should be, why am I going to college? What am I going to college for? And at the end of this college degree, what is the purpose of having this degree? See, the dream is long term. The plans may be immediate that get you somewhere in intermediate, but you want to look at the long term also and see if the plans, the immediate plans, are in alignment with what you want to accomplish long term. Shoot for the stars, ladies and gentlemen. Don't ever set small goals for yourself, because small goals are so easy to accomplish and they really don't take a whole lot out of you. But you want to set a plan that will help you to stay motivated. The next thing that you're doing is your plan, it must be clear, it must be precise. You can't have a plan that is so vague that if anyone should look at it, they can't figure out what is it that you are trying to accomplish or want to do. It needs to say something about you, about where you're going, about what you want to accomplish, about what you want to do, and why it's important to you. It's important to put those things on paper. The Bible says that you should write the vision and you should make it plain. Now, what is the purpose of writing the vision? What is the purpose? When you think about it for a second, writing the vision simply means that you won't forget. And if you don't forget, then you're going to have it in front of you where you can always take a look at it. Keep it written down, ladies and gentlemen. Make it clear. You may want to run it by someone who you trust, someone who's been where you're trying to go, and get their feedback. But you want to make it precise and clear, and you want to simplify it so that when you look at it, you're not waking up trying to figure out, what is this that I wrote? Have you ever written something down sometimes and, a year later you look at it and you're trying to figure out, what on earth was I writing? Well, your goals shouldn't be like that. Your goals should be simple. Your goals should be straightforward, and your goals should be easy to understand. So if that is the case, then you make it easier for you to stay motivated. Because if you have difficulty understanding what you wrote, then how difficult then is it going to be for you to stay motivated? The next thing you want to do is, as you write them down, you want to make sure that you crystallize this in your mind. Crystallize this in your mind, ladies and gentlemen. You know something? If you don't have goals and you shoot, let's say you have a target. You have a target and you shoot at the target. You're going to know if you hit the target, yes or no, right? But if you decide to just go on the shooting range and you pick up a gun and you start shooting, you're going to be successful every time, because you shoot at nothing, you're going to hit nothing, so you are successful. And so what do you get out of that? Absolutely nothing. You want to ensure when you're shooting at something, when you're shooting, you have a target. So have your target before you. It's important that when you write your goals down, you put up you can write them someplace. Some people will keep them on their cell phone. So you keep them there and you look at it often and you make sure that they stay relevant, because sometimes as things change and situations change, the goals themselves may no longer be relevant and you want to modify as needed. So you definitely want to make sure that each time you shoot, you're shooting at something that is important and relevant. Don't waste your time, don't waste your efforts doing things that don't help you to move forward. Ask yourself the question always, what motivates you? What gets you excited? What is it about you, ladies and gentlemen? This now is personal. What is it about you that wakes you up in the morning? What do you want to wake up for? What will you do consistently and not feel tired? What are you excited about? Those are questions that you must answer. No one can answer that question for you, because in the process of being motivated to do something or staying motivated about something, you're looking at the carrot, so to speak, down the road. You're looking at the thing down the road that is the accomplishment, that is the goal, that is the prize. So what is it that's going to get you motivated and excited to get on this path? That is crucial and critical to your success. If you haven't figured that part out yet, I would advise you to take some time off. Take a little bit of time, get some paper, go sit down, turn the phone off, turn the TV off, block out all the distractions, and figure out, what am I excited about? If, someone asked me the question some years ago, they said, Ray, if money was not an option, what would you do? Some years ago, I worked with a gentleman who we worked in an IT department. We were working at IBM at the time, and as we were together, I noticed he had these really cool cartoon drawings of like superheroes in his desk. And I said, wow, that's pretty cool. Who drew those? And he said, I did. I said, really? I said, man, and you've never pursued that? And you know what? He said, Ray, there's no money in that. Being a cartoonist, there's no money in that. And I said, but if you were to eliminate the money part of it, what would you do? He said, Ray, I'd be drawing all day. I get such excitement when I draw. He said, the creative part of me just comes alive. But then he came back to reality and he said, well, the bills have to be paid. I have a mortgage, I have a family, so forget drawing and let's do the job. And how many of you out there are like that? You have this creative ability, you have this skill, you have this talent, you have this dream, but you've chosen not to pursue that because you've decided before even trying that this thing won't work for you, or this thing won't make money for you as much as you probably would have enjoyed doing it. One of my friends called me some time ago and he says, Ray, I decided to stay in my lane. I listened to you. And I was a little surprised. I didn't know what he was talking about. He said, but I decided to just stay in my lane. I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, I tried a bunch of things, realized they weren't for me. And finally, when I listened to you, I realized that what I did very well was cook. He said, I can cook and I enjoy cooking. Started his own restaurant, became successful at it, started a second restaurant, became successful at it, sold one restaurant, now he's involved in real estate doing other things. But the point is simply this. He decided to go after the thing that he knew he could do, the thing that he enjoyed wherever he went. It's interesting that before he became a chef, started his own restaurant, every time we went out to eat, whatever we ate, he found fault with the food. Oh, this isn't cooked properly. Oh, I can do a better job. Oh, I can do this. I can do that. And maybe this is speaking to you because there are things that are happening around you that you see fault in those things. And sometimes it's not because you're complaining so much. It's because you were assigned to that thing. That's what you should be working at. This is where you should be spending your time doing that particular thing because you keep finding issues with it because there's something inside of you that can get you that can be used to make that thing better. So ask yourself the question, what motivates you? What are you excited about? Because that may be a hint or a driver towards getting you to the point of being motivated and staying motivated about that thing that's going to push you into your destiny. Now, this is not an easy question, but if you take some time to investigate the phenomenon, it may reveal to you some interesting insights about your purpose. Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? What excites me? What doesn't excite me? One of the worst things to do is get involved in things that don't excite you simply because it pays well. Because a lot of people are in jobs that pay well and they just hate what they do. And it's killing them on the inside. I met an executive some years ago and as we were talking, he talked about buying the new Corvette he just bought, and he talked about the boat he had, and the wife stayed home, and the kids were in private school, and he just seemed to have the life that a lot of people would dream about. But he said, Ray, I hate doing that. And I can't stop doing it because there's nothing else that pays as well as that, so I have to keep doing that in order to maintain the lifestyle. And how many people are out there like that? Now, I'm not saying go quit your job. I'm simply saying there are people out there doing things that they don't like. They're hanging out with people that they don't like. They're going to places that they don't like. The only thing they like about what they do is the fact that they earn a pretty good income to take care of their family. I'm saying in this particular talk, what motivates you? What is exciting? What gets you excited and motivated? Because it's hard to stay motivated at something you dislike. And after a while, it becomes a chore. And if you're not careful, it impacts your health down the road. So when you do that now, ladies and gentlemen, the next thing you want to do is you want to keep what they call motivation triggers or motivator triggers close by. Things that could be audible or things that could be visible. Like for me, one of the things that I do, I enjoy running. So one of the things that I do, I have a little sign on my desk that says it doesn't get easier, you simply get stronger. And there's a runner on a path running. And so every time I look at that, it motivates me. Across from where I sit, there's a picture of a lady running on the beach. And she's running on a pier. And over on the other side, there's a picture of someone else running in the woods. Because that motivates me. And I love running. And so for you, it may be something else. And I know that at the end of a workday, sometimes it's a little difficult to motivate myself to go run. And so having these visual cues, so to speak, keeps me focused and keeps me motivated that I'm going to run. I'm going to do this. When I get home, I'm going to do this. And sometimes what you have to do is if you plan on doing something, you have almost a split second to make a decision about whether you should or shouldn't do the thing. So in my case, when I get home, instead of sitting in the couch, checking the news, checking the weather, immediately I go put my running shoes on because that's the first step. If you want to stay motivated, ladies and gentlemen, take the first step. Change, put your running clothes on. I can't tell you how many times I got home and my intention was to run on that particular day, but I got into a conversation with my wife, and next thing you know, 15, 20, 30 minutes down the road, I'm having dinner and no running. But if I decide right there and then, as soon as I walk in the door, honey, I'm going for a run, change my clothes, sit at the front door, we can have a conversation, but the likelihood of me going for a run increased exponentially because I didn't get distracted by a bunch of other activities or things that would pull me away from running. So another thing you want to do is you want to read your goals daily, morning and evening preferably. A lot of successful people, when they wake up in the mornings, they read their goals to remind them of what they want to do. They read what motivates them. Sometimes you have to do that. Years ago, I wrote something down about why I was special. If you don't think you're special, and if you don't feel special, then the likelihood of you accomplishing something that's important and significant is diminished. And you'd say, well, why would you write that? Didn't you feel special? Yes, I did. But I still had to write that. And I had to remind myself every day. And I told myself, you are special. You are important. You have something valuable to add to the world. And when you walk into the room, people are excited. When you leave, people are sad that you leave. You have something of value. And I'm telling you that, ladies and gentlemen, you have to look at yourself and personalize this. And you have to internalize this. And you have to tell yourself, I have something of value to add. Regardless of the mistakes you made, regardless of the wrong paths that you took, you have something of value to add. And you have to keep telling yourself this, and you have to keep believing this. Because oftentimes the very people that you associate with are the people who will tell you you don't have anything of value to add. You're not important, you're not significant. So you have to tell yourself this, because the entire world is trying to get you to focus your attention on them. When I'm telling you, focus your attention on your goals and your gifts and your talents and accomplish them, because then you're going to add value to the world and then you'll get all the attention. But don't just try to pull people's attention to you when you have nothing to add. Give something to the world. And in doing this, you will find that your motivation increases daily. So read your goals multiple times a day if you have to. I have mine written down. I have my motivation statements. I have my mission statements written down on my cell phone, and I read them and I focus on them and I keep them relevant. Sometimes I change, sometimes I modify, and sometimes I add more things. But it's important that you do that. Sometimes instead of hanging out on social media and looking at things, read your goals, because you will know, am I serious about this? Am I really staying motivated with this stuff? Am I just writing down things for the purpose of writing down things? We're coming close to the end of the year. We're now about to hit fourth quarter. So you're in a fourth quarter of the game. Now's the time to put the effort in to stay motivated, to stay focused. So, when I was growing up, my grandfather used to always tell me that when I got to college age, I should go to college. Now, for a lot of people hearing this, you're thinking, well, what's the big deal? That's not an issue. Well, I grew up in Jamaica, right in the middle of the country, and I grew up in a very rural area. But as a little kid, my grandfather, who probably never even went to high school, I don't think he did, always said to me, Ray, go to college. Ray, go to college. I heard this so much that it became ingrained in me. I knew at some point in time I was going to go to college. Where? I didn't know. What I would do in college, what I would study, I had no clue. I didn't even know what I wanted to be. I just knew that at some point I was going to go to college. And to help me to stay focused and motivated on that, my grandfather would pay for private lessons. And I didn't appreciate any of that, because all the other kids, when I was in the equivalent of middle school, all the other kids would be out playing after school, playing marbles, hanging out, doing all kinds of silly stuff. But I was sitting in a classroom with someone that my grandfather paid to ensure that I got extra lessons so that his plan for me, his goal for me to go to college would be fulfilled. And I resented that, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't see the value in it. And even when I got to high school, I knew I was going to go to college. Where? I didn't know. Matter of fact, back then in high school, to graduate high school back then was just an accomplishment in itself. It was so difficult, and not many people were even thinking about going to college beyond that. It was like getting a job or going to America or going to some country somewhere to go work. But I knew I was going to college. Interestingly enough, some years later, when I came to America, and I was walking down the street one day in New York, and I looked up and I saw Mercy College, and I thought, oh my goodness, my grandfather said go to college. And I was just walking aimlessly that day. I was in America maybe a year or so, and I walked in and I said to the lady, I'd like to go to school here. And she said, okay, have you filled out an application? Have you been here before? No. And it didn't matter what she said to me. I kept saying to her, I have to go to school here. Eventually, she paired me with an advisor who was a retired colonel from the military. And when he found out that I just finished basic training, he took an interest in me. Long story short, I started school there. That was around August of that year. I started school there a couple of weeks later. And I graduated 4 years later. Why? Because someone had told me, they had placed the dream inside of me. They planted the seed and they told me, go to college. So I'm telling you today, ladies and gentlemen, stay motivated. Write your goals down and focus on your goals. Keep the motivators in front of you. Keep the things that motivate you. See, one of the things to remember in staying motivated is the power of association. See, if you habitually focus with positive people and people who are motivated to getting things done, then you will find that you will develop similar habits. You do not want to hang out with people who are going nowhere. And by the way, you know these people. You know who they are. So don't think that by hanging out on the corner watching TV, going to the mall, being on social media 24/7, doing nothing of value simply because you wrote some goals down, then they're just going to happen miraculously by themselves. It's not going to happen. You see, someone once said that if you're not losing friends as you're going up the ladder of success, then you're probably not going up the right ladder. Because as you go up the ladder, you will find that there are people. They're going to criticize you. They're going to complain about you. They're going to condemn you. They're going to tell you how you have changed and how you're doing the wrong thing and blah, blah, blah. And they'll just keep going on and on and on. And you have to drop some friends. When I was in college, a friend of mine said to me, he says, Ray, I don't know if this college thing's working out. Because he and I used to hang out a lot. Now, during that time, I wasn't doing so great in school. My first semester, I was hanging out. I was treating college kind of like high school, and things weren't going very well. And by midterm, I was failing just about everything. And I decided, I made a decision. So write this thing down. Make a decision. That is one of the most important things you will do, is making a decision. Making a quality decision. Not just saying things out of the side of your mouth and then you don't keep your word. I made a decision that I wasn't going to fail that semester. So I had already failed up to midterm, so it meant that I really needed to ace everything in my finals in order to be at least a 3.0, because I was paying for college out of my pocket. I didn't get anyone who put money aside for me. I didn't get anyone who had funds set aside. I had to pay for it out of pocket. So I was working and paying, working and paying. So if you're out there listening thinking, how am I going to go to college? It is possible, ladies and gentlemen. You can have a job. You can have 2 jobs. And you can go to college and still be successful. So what did I do? I just cut off all association with my buddy. He did not like this. He complained. Oh, you think you're this, you think you're that. And by the way, you're going to go through this for a while when you try to do something different. People will tell you you think you're better than them simply because you're trying to do something that they've never done. And so get used to it. You're going to lose some friends. Don't worry about it, ladies and gentlemen. You have to elevate yourself. See, if you don't elevate yourself, no one else is going to show up and pick you up. No one else is going to carry you on their shoulder. See, your parents can do this for a while, but after a while, see, we're in a society where parents will fight for their kids in middle school. They'll fight for their kids in high school. Oh, my kid deserves a spot on a team. My kid deserves to be in advanced placement. My kid deserves to be in honor roll. And they'll do this over and over. And sometimes administrators and teachers will simply just give your kid an A because they don't want to deal with you. And this is maybe hitting somebody in the face, and you know your kid should not be on a football team, but you're insisting that your kid should be on a football team. You know your kid's not good enough to be in that music class, but you're insisting that they be there when maybe your kid should be someplace else. Well, guess what? Now your kid finished high school, your kid finished college, and they're on a job. You can't go on a job and tell them my kid deserves the corner office, or my kid deserves the promotion, or my kid deserves that raise. It doesn't work like that. So when you spend all your time around people who are telling you how great you are, how important you are, how you can do just about anything in the whole wide world, when you haven't set a single goal or done anything, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up to not succeed down the road. You're going to hit a wall at some point. This is why it's important that right now you sit back and you decide what you're good at and what you enjoy and what you'd like to do, and set some meaningful goals and get started. Because if you don't get started later on, when you try to, the motivation may not be there. Remember, what we're talking about is how the elites stay motivated. You get motivated and stay motivated. Make a conscious decision today, ladies and gentlemen, to surround yourself with people who are positive. Surround yourself with people who are nourishing. Surround yourself with people who are uplifting. Surround yourself with people who believe in your goals and your dreams and are willing to encourage you to go after them. Surround yourself with people who are dreamers, people who are courageous enough to tell you that they failed, but they continued, and failure was simply a part of the journey. Surround yourself with those kind of people. Surround yourself with people who are cheerful, who are good at planning, people who are doers, not just sayers. Now, we know people. I'm sure you can find people in your sphere of influence and family and work. All they do is talk, talk, talk. What am I going to do? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But they never take step one to doing anything. Step one for you is, how am I going to stay motivated to get my plan done? So you, in this section of the talk, is share your goals with the right people. Share your goals with like-minded people and surround yourself with people who are doing the thing, not people who are talking about doing a thing. And they've been talking about it for the past 15 years and they still haven't done anything. Surround yourself with people that reflect your values, because if you are with people who don't have similar values, then there's a good chance there's going to be conflict. And if there's conflict, then you waste energy trying to prove that you should do this. You waste energy trying to get them on board. You're not looking for people to climb on board with you for your dreams and your goals. You're looking for people who will encourage you, who are there already or on their way there. Never stop learning, ladies and gentlemen. Read daily. See, someone once said, you want to hide some things from some people, put it in a book. A lot of people just don't read. So read daily. You know, when I was in college, there's an elderly lady there in one of my classes. She was in my psychology class, and I think she was in an English class and maybe another class. I can't remember off the top of my head. But at 77 years old, she was getting her degree in psychology because her goal in life was to be a psychologist. And life happened. She said she got pregnant early, then she got married, and she started to raise a family. And later on, the grandkids came, and it just never happened. And then she had to go get a job. Now, she was retired, and as she retired, she reflected on her life, and she realized she wanted to go back to school. Now, here we were, 19, 20 in the class, hanging out with a 77-year-old lady. But my point was this: not only did she graduate, but she accomplished her goal. She had written this down over 50 years earlier, that she wanted to go to college. And 50 years later, there she was. She graduated from college, I think at age 78. So you see, don't make your age an excuse to why you should accomplish or why you should pursue certain things. If you think about it, the most successful people read a lot. You should be reading at least one book per month. Successful CEOs read anywhere from 12 to 24 books a year, because you'd think, oh, they're successful, they don't need to read. No, the reason why they're successful and the reason why they stay relevant is because they continue to read. As someone told me years ago, leaders are readers and readers become leaders. A lot of people want to read, a lot of people want to lead, but they have no information. Your information is no longer relevant and it's no longer applicable to what's going on, because what you have is information from years ago. Read, ladies and gentlemen. Pick up a self-help book and read. Continue to expand your vocabulary and read. Because if you're going to motivate yourself, one of the things my wife tells me is that the way she stays motivated at times is to read the autobiography and the stories of other people who've overcome some difficult situations in life. And this helps her to stay motivated, to stay focused, because when she gets a little bit down and a little bit disheartened, she remembers those people and the great obstacles that they had to overcome, and this helps her to stay focused. See, the more you learn, the more your mirrors become windows. Because a lot of people, when they look, all they see is a mirror. And they don't see a way out. They don't see an avenue of success or an avenue that will take them towards success. They see a mirror, but the more you read, the more you learn, your mirrors will turn into windows of opportunity. See, you have to be passionate about learning, ladies and gentlemen. You have to really be so passionate about learning that what you don't see is a wall, but you see a door in a wall. There are people who will continue to hit their heads against a wall year after year, over and over, expecting that something different is going to happen. Other people will simply say, you know something, let's cut a hole in the wall. Let's go over there to my left, there's a door. Let's go through the door. And if you do that, you'll find that things will start to flow for you. I'm not saying it's going to be easier, but you'll make progress. Another thing that you want to do in order to stay motivated, get motivated and stay motivated, don't overthink things. Some people, they have a good idea, and instead of putting a plan and working it, they overthink it to the point where someone else comes along and run with the same idea, and they're successful while you're planning and still planning, and you're trying to have the perfect plan. There is no such thing as a perfect plan, ladies and gentlemen. No such thing. Start where you are. The motivation comes from when you take that first step in the plan that you put together. Track your progress. It's very important to know if you've been making progress. It's like trying to lose weight. If you know what your weight was the day you started and 25 days later you stepped on the scale and you saw that the number is smaller, that is encouragement, and that gets you excited. So track your progress. Another important thing to staying motivated is you want to help others. You can't forget this. This is so crucial and important. Don't think that the world evolves around you and you only. Help others. Always give others a helping hand. Put your hand out there. Show other people that they too can be successful. If you've made progress in a certain area, help someone else. Don't just sit there and think it's all about you. Help someone else. Volunteer your time. Be a good steward. Be a good person in the community where others can depend on you and lean on you. And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, in order to stay motivated, you want to celebrate your little successes. You don't want to go out and have some big extravagant party or something. A gentleman told me some years ago, we were laughing about it. He said that he had started in a network marketing business, and at the time, he was fairly successful in another business and wanted to diversify. Now, in this other business, when he had hit a certain level, which wasn't a significantly financial level, but it was a significant a foundational level in the business, they said you always want to celebrate your successes. Go for dinner. Do something. Well, what he did, he went out and bought a Corvette. That was his way of celebrating. And when he went to the guy who was mentoring him, the guy said, this is not what I'm talking about. When you hit that little level, you don't go buy a Corvette. When you hit a more significant level, then we'll talk about that. What I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, if you're able to be successful in a small thing, in starting off and being motivated about your dreams and your goals, let's say it's college and you finish your first semester, you don't go apply for that job now saying, okay, I'm ready to make 100,000. That's a success. You take a few days off, you go enjoy yourself, and you celebrate the fact that semester number 1 is behind you. You were successful. Now you start looking towards the next one. You're trying to lose weight. You've lost 10 pounds. Your goal may be 50. Your goal may be more than that, whatever it is, but you've lost 10 pounds. It doesn't mean now you go eat an entire cheesecake and say, let me celebrate. No. Your celebration should be in line with the goal that you've accomplished. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that today I was helpful in helping you to set some realistic goals and stay motivated. It's important, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't matter what you do or what you plan. If you don't motivate yourself to start, it just won't happen. And all you're going to do is find yourself being in a frustrating situation. So I hope that this helped you. I hope that as you're listening, you will share this with your friends and that you will hit the like button and that you will shoot me a comment about how this was able to help you. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, have a fabulous Saturday and enjoy the rest of your weekend.